We are back. We're back, baby. Okay, hold on. Had to listen to your voice message. Had to listen to your voice message. Everything down. Listen, there was negative effects to segregation. There definitely was. Yeah, there definitely was negative effects. Okay, I can see your messages now. So just maybe keep typing or something. I don't know what's going on. There was definitely negative effects to segregation, but that was only because it was Jim Crow. Voluntary segregation, just being two separate communities, everybody being by themselves, everybody enjoying their own shit, everybody flourishing on their own. That's it. But like, I don't know. It's just because I feel like they have too much access to us. Like I feel like we need to find a way to limit ourselves the best way that we can. I feel like we need to find a way to limit ourselves because right now, I don't know. I feel like they just have too much access to us. They have too much access to everything. I feel like social media has opened up this weird bubble, and it's like it's nice to an extent. It's nice to an extent because when you have community and you connect to other communities, it's nice. But it's just white people need to learn a lesson of, I don't know, getting limited access to other communities, I guess, because they don't know how to appreciate or respect them. That's their problem. They don't know how to appreciate them. They don't know how to respect them. They don't know how to respect boundaries. It's a problem. And it's like, I feel like if we're able to separate ourselves from them and have our own thing and basically retreat when they get out of hand, that's where like the protection will kind of be. So I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people are feeling that way. I'm not the only one who's feel like bring segregation back because, baby, at this point, it's not fun. It's not fun because you got to think about it like this too, right? Outside of the negatives of segregation, of what white people were allowed to do and what they were doing back then, I feel like if there was segregation now, it would not be nearly the same. Okay, I feel like it would not be nearly the same. I feel like if there we had segregation now, it would just be voluntary separation. So let's not even say segregation, voluntary separation. If there was separation of the communities, remember, if those white people didn't do what they did and burn down our cities and shit like that, we would be thriving right now. Because you gotta understand with integration, the white people are the ones who are in charge of all the wealth and all the success and all of the things, right? We have small stuff, and there are some millionaires, black millionaires out there. There's black billionaires out there, right? But for the most part in America, white people hold all the power. And it gets to the point where you have to, as a black person, insert yourself into their groups, into their community, into their spaces in order to get any opportunities here. And that's the problem. When we were separated, black people was able to have their own thing and white people were able to have their own thing. And so I'm not saying to do segregation again. I'm just, Graham, you're an idiot in my life. So thanks for being a loser and thanks for pumping up the live. Anywho, literally, when we had our own thing and they had their own thing, we were thriving on our own. We were growing on our own. We could be our own CEOs, be our own principals, be our own bosses. You know what I'm saying? We can do all of that. So with that being said, it's like, I feel like if we did have separation now, it'll be a little bit different. It'll be better because it's such a disrespectful thing going on. Like white people are just, I don't know, like they're just disrespectful. They're dismissive. They're just all these things, and they have no problem like being that way. And I think it's mainly because they hold too much power over every single minority community, and I think they also just know that they don't have to do anything. They don't have to respect us. They don't have to act a certain way. They can be however they want. Oh, thank you so much, Jaden. I appreciate that. So sweet. And X, just ignore Graham. He's a loser. But he's an absolute fucking loser. But anywho, when it comes down to that, they're so disrespectful because they know that they can be. They're so dismissive because they know that they can be. They're able to steal from other communities because they know that they can. Hold on, got a bear. Manage black words and change. Yep. I just made you a moderator, Yana, so hopefully that's working. But oh, you got a DM Math John? We gotta get into some tutoring sessions. But I feel as a person who's part of a minority community, hey Haley, literally white people just are just too, how would you say, I don't want to say free, but just too comfortable, if you will, too comfortable treating people any type of way that they want, and just having and doing whatever the hell they want to do. And it's just, to me, it's unsettling. It's unsettling. And so I feel like if there was voluntary separation, people will be able to protect their cultures a lot better, shield themselves from the white communities, cut the white communities off from access because they don't learn, they don't respect, and it's really sad. I know, Jay. People who treat you like that are just bogus, and it's fucked up because people can't. How would you say? People can't. It's like people can't protect themselves. They can't run away. They can't fight back. Not really, because it's like white people are able to just have access to everything, and it's because we're in a social media world now. So people put their stuff out there, and it's all everywhere, and everybody has access to it. But it's just like really shitty because they have a history of doing this, and it's because they have the power. But like it's really, it's just something I've been thinking about for a while. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. That like I think that especially as a black community, we just have to separate ourselves in some way because they just don't respect it, and I don't like it. One of the biggest things that I had saw on TikTok was really nice was when white people, was maybe a year or two ago now, when white people, it's a year ago, they were stealing dances from black creators and then becoming famous off of it. Perfect example, Charlie D'Amelio. Going and doing dances and not giving credit and just basically riding off the train of something they didn't create, right? And they kept doing that, kept doing it, kept doing dances, didn't credit, didn't do any of that, right? Would just act like it was their own. Black people stopped making dances. I think it was for like 2 or 3 months. They stopped making dances. They stopped doing it. And there was no viral dances on TikTok. There were no viral dances on TikTok at all. They were trying to get the buzz going, but nothing happened because we were teaching white people a lesson that y'all had to do crediting. Once we separated ourselves and snatched our creativity off of the app, stopped ourselves from doing dances, we did that whole movement on there. Once we did that, literally, after that, crediting people for their dances became a thing. It became a thing. I don't know where after that, after we went away for those 2 3 months and didn't do no dances and didn't come out with nothing new creative, nothing like that. When we did that fucking movement, literally, now white people were crediting the creators. Now people couldn't just steal it. You know what I'm saying? It had to be like a year or two ago that we did that whole, no dances movement. And it's like, imagine if we could do that on everything. Haley, we're talking about a whole bunch of shit, to be honest. We came off another live. I had to leave that one and come on here because my chat was acting weird. But we're basically just talking about like voluntary separation and like, white people like kind of disrespecting the culture of other communities, not really, and when they're called out on it, they're like dismissive and disrespectful, like all these freaking things. Like right now, they're doing like cultural erasure on the Asians right now. They're attacking the Asian people right now. When it comes down to like boba, like we just watched the video on the last live, but you can watch that recording later. But boba, they came out with this boba can encoded boba, and now they're selling it in a can without crediting the Asian community. And they went on Shark Tank, and they're marketing it as this brand new thing that no one's ever heard of. Theft from communities and profiting off of it. Then there's also some white influencer who opened up a coffee shop. She's taking the boba cups, like the boba cups that have like the little round bottom that's kind of cut off at the bottom. She's taking that and making it to like some weird Chamberlain cups or whatever. She's calling them something else, and basically making it seem like she didn't get them from the Asian community. Hey Sahil, haven't seen you in a while. Like that, I could, as we were saying, same. X, when did I say that all white people were the same? When did I say that? I'm speaking generally. If you're missing the message, I can't bother to explain it to you. Hey Sahil, good to see you. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to explain it. I'm not gonna do the whole that not all men thing. I'm not doing that. So if a hit dog is gonna holler, a hit dog is going to holler. If I'm talking to you, and you have a problem with what I'm saying, then obviously I'm talking about you. You're part of the problem. And if you're not the white person doing the deed, you're the one who's you're the one who's condoning it. That's another problem. What's the hell is that quote? What is that quote? It's something. There we go. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And a lot of white people have that bad. Where they'll be like, oh, I'm an ally. I'm an ally. I respect the community. I support the community. I don't want anybody doing bad. I don't like my community doing anything bad to anyone. But then y'all sit idly by and allow them to disrespect people. Y'all sit idly by and allow them to appropriate people's cultures. Y'all sit idly by and let them say disrespectful things and box people into a corner. What the hell do you want us to say? I can't defend your own peers for you. I can't go against your own peers for you. If my sister said something disrespectful or demeaning or degrading to someone, I would not wait for that person to respond and say something to my sister. She's my peer. She's my family member. She's my responsibility. I'm going to pull her to the side and be like, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. What you said was wrong. What you said was disrespectful. What you said was not right. Absolutely not. I'm going to take the responsibility for her behavior because I know you. And I'm not like that. I don't do that to people. So you're not allowed to do that to people. But what I've seen and I've observed with the white community is that y'all don't do that. Y'all will sit idly by. It's just like with that oh my God, that white lady who just got dragged out of a Trump, I don't know if it was a Trump rally or some type of meeting. I think it was like a Republican meeting where they were all in there and they were talking about what Trump is doing, what Trump is not doing, right? And she came out and was like yelling. I think she's a doctor as well, yelling about how people are dying and stuff like that. And like 2 or 3 unidentified, not security personnel, white men came up and dragged her out of the meeting. And everyone stood idly by. As a matter of fact, people were cheering. A woman is being assaulted. There are several witnesses and no one's doing anything. Thanks, Jaden. I love this sweater. Nobody was doing anything. And I'm just like, what? What is happening? What is happening? But that was probably the most perfect example of how white people are so complacent in a lot of things. They're complacent in a lot of things. And if you're not like that, great. But an overwhelming majority are. Will sit idly by. If something's not affecting them, they'll just let it slide. Hence the reason why a lot of white people voted for Trump, and it's not to pull up the politics thing, but a lot of white people voted for Trump, and now they're realizing that they made a mistake, and now they want the communities that was warning them and telling them, hey, don't do this, this guy is not right. Now they want those communities to come together and help them because they're losing their farms, their children are getting kicked out of programs, they're not receiving their money for their benefits. Now that the situation is affecting them, now they don't want to be complacent. Not only do they not want to be complacent anymore, they want other people to fight their battles for them. And we're like, no. No. It is karma, Jaden. It is karma. It's sad. And I said, I wish I could feel bad for y'all. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't. It's sad in like a sympathy type of way. Like I feel pity for you type of way. You know? And it's like, but people act like that though when they think that things are not going to affect them. They do those things when they feel like things don't have anything to do with them. See, the black community, we're known for fighting against injustice no matter what type of injustice it is. That's just, it is what it is, collectively as a group. That's what we do collectively. When there's something ain't right, when something's not right, we speak up. We speak out. Me as a black woman myself, I'll say myself, when something's going wrong, I don't give a damn if I'm the only motherfucker saying something in the room. I'm going to speak out against injustice. And nobody's going to stop me from doing that. Point blank, period. So it's like, but when I do it, I'm considered combative. I'm considered insubordinate. I'm considered all these things. While all the white women, and I worked in these areas, I worked in these rooms, I worked in these spaces with these people, they will sit idly by while bad things happen and say nothing and do nothing. And no, I can't. But it explains a lot though. It explains a lot for even why slavery happened, right? Because There were the white people who were doing the deed, they were doing the bad things, and then there were the white people who were complacent to said deeds. There were the white people who did not do a damn thing. As a matter of fact, there were white people who were waiting for somebody to give them an excuse to think that this was okay so they wouldn't have to do anything. But let that have been your children. What would you have done? Let that have been your father, your mother, your sister, your brother. What would you have done? And I don't know, I haven't studied into it enough. I haven't looked deeply into it enough to learn why white people are complacent to other people's suffering, or just suffering in general, or why they collectively have this thing where they only come together when it's hate for another group. But it needs to be deeply more, I need to deeply study up on why that is. And I don't know if it's just because they're afraid of losing their power, so they have to come together collectively for hate, or if that's just who they are as a people. Interesting phenomenon. An interesting, sad phenomenon. But it feels like separation is the only way to protect yourself against them. Separating yourself away fully, cutting them off from access to you fully, seems like the only way to protect yourself against their community. That seems like the only way. Because if we're in schools with them, if we work with them, if we're around them, if they're interconnected with our economics and our social stuff and everything that we do, what's to stop us? What's to stop us from being mistreated some more? So, the way that I see it, I can never not be myself. And that's one thing that I'm never nervous about when I eventually do like grow and have a bigger platform. I always tell people, no matter what happens, or no matter what people say, or no matter what people think about me, I'm gonna always be me, because at the end of the day, I have to look at myself in the mirror and be happy with what I see. I have to look at myself in the mirror and be happy with the decisions that I made. And one thing that I don't like is regret. Regret is probably worse. It's probably one of the biggest types of grief for me. Like, yeah, losing somebody in your life is also a big piece of grief, of course, but I feel like regret is one of those types of grief that you really you never shake. Just like if you lose somebody that you truly adore and love. Because it's like, you could have and you didn't. You should have and you didn't. And now you can't go back and fix it. It's already done. The deed is done. It's over. So, as much as a lot of people like to be complacent, as much as a lot of people like to not say anything because they don't want to miss out on opportunities, or they don't want to receive the hate, or they don't want to have all these things, I could never be that type of person to just sit idly by and not say anything. Sit idly by and not observe everything and acknowledge all that. I just can't. I can't in good conscience. And I don't know how people do it. Personally, I don't know how people do it. Because the way that I see it is, speaking up is how things get done. Speaking up is how achievements are made. How success is achieved. That's the way that I see it. So even if I blow up, and I know for sure, I'm already telling you right now, mark my motherfucking words. What's today? February 28, 2025. I know I'm going to be canceled. I'm going to be canceled a couple times. Okay? I'm going to be canceled a couple times. Because the way that I see it, I have to be my genuine self and be genuinely me. And when injustice is out there and I see it, I'm going to speak up. Exactly. Hi, Silly Billy. Haven't seen you in a while. Closed mouths do not get fed. And not just that. Closed mouths, people pick sides for you. When you don't say shit, people think that you're on the wrong side. You're not a friend, you're a foe. People make decisions for you. People formulate an opinion for you. And nobody speaks for me. Luckily, God blessed me with teeth, tongue, a jaw, whole mouth. I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to speak up against injustice. And I always tell people that there's truth in people's experiences. Even if you don't believe it or you don't like it or whatever, there's truth in people's experiences. Okay? Y'all don't pull nothing else from me. There's truth in people's experiences. Even if it's not fact. Even if it's not fact. There's truth in people's experiences. Here's the reason why the whole not all men argument is so fucking dumb to me. It's so dumb. Just like not all white people. It's so dumb to me. It's dumb. If I'm talking about you, then obviously you hurt. But if it's not about you, hey, if people try to say, well, all black people are ghetto. Who? I get dressed up and go to Chicago with my friends. I go and put makeup on and put on some really cute pumps and go out to dinner. I come home and watch JJK and eat Domino's with my best friend. Who? All black people are uneducated. I don't know about you, but I was on the dean's list in college. I don't know about you, but I was an honor student in high school. I don't know about you. Like, I don't know about you, but that don't bother me. Of course you're wrong. Of course you're an idiot. Of course you're stupid. But what I'm not going to do is pick battles with somebody who wants to be ignorant like that. For you to sit there and think that every single black person on the planet Earth is stupid when there was a black person as our president. But hey, you know what? You may be able to formulate that type of a situation because look at who we got as president now. An imbecile is in the Oval Office. So maybe you don't have to have smarts to be president. Maybe you don't need to be smart. But like, that's why I hate the whole idea of like, you know, the whole, oh, not all this, not all that. You're right. Never did I say that it was all anything. I'm speaking generally. Because the proof is in the pudding. Generally, white people are known for being complacent. Generally, white people are known for cultural erasure. Generally, white people are known for being dismissive and disrespectful towards other communities of people. Especially when they're called out for doing something wrong. Either misbehaving or doing something or stealing. It is what it is. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? And like the thing is that if you don't like those words, change it. And I'm gonna get into that too, actually, right now. May as well. If you don't like what somebody has to say about you, and it's wounding you because you know it's true, change it. Change it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of the people where I make a quick change. Yeah. Exactly, silly Billy. Exactly. That's why I hate it when people get upset about it. Like, stop trying to think about how it's wounding you and try to ask that person why they feel that way. Because the people, like I just said earlier, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. To do nothing. And there's a lot of white complacence. White people will sit back and let anything happen to anyone as long as it's not affecting them. And that's not me just talking out the side of my ass and I don't have no evidence to back that up. I have evidence to back it up. Y'all make your own evidence all the time. I don't need to make up stories. I don't need to lie. We just watched a white woman get yanked out of a Republican meeting by 3 unidentified, unauthorized white males. And nobody did a thing. Nobody did a thing. Nobody did anything. That was the most prominent, most beautiful sense of piece of evidence to prove white complacency that I've ever seen in my entire existence. That was the most perfect way of doing it. You let these men assault that woman. Y'all did nothing. Some of them were cheering. And they're all sitting back. Somebody help her. Nobody's moving. And you need me to elaborate further on white complacency? I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. It's like, well, she was a Republican, so do with that as you will. I don't really know what she was there for. I don't even know what the meeting was about. All I know is that she was dragged out of there, and nobody did a damn thing. And I was just like, and you want me to explain white complacency? You want me to say not all white people? She was in a room of 100 people. and nobody did anything. What in the fuck? No, I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not about to do the whole explanation of not all white people. I'm not doing that. Not all men. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. If you feel like you're being attacked, I'm talking about you. If you're getting hot, if you're getting upset, I'm talking about you. Either you're doing the deed or you're complacent in said deed. You're enabling their behaviors. You're condoning what they're doing, which makes you just as bad, if not worse. Because you're the type of person to smile at somebody's face and say, I'm with you, and then watch them get stabbed in the back. I can't trust you. And that's not me just coming up with shit. That's not me just making up lies. And that's not me doing that. That's me making up observation. All you gotta do is sit and watch. I'm very observant. I try my absolute best to do so. I try my very best to do so. So anytime I try to just be observant. Because if you're not observant, you're gonna miss shit. And I love observing human behavior. One of my favorite pastimes is people watching, because you can learn a lot from people's behaviors, especially when they are comfortable. When they think that they can do whatever, say whatever, you'll be surprised the amount of people who like expose themselves, telling themselves with no extra need from you. I had a friend who he used to always tell me that he was one of those people who just brought out like people's deepest, darkest secrets just from his presence alone. And at first I didn't think much of it. I didn't think really into it really. But he said very few words and did very little actions. And you would just divulge everything. I told him a secret that I ain't never tell nobody. He was one of the first people outside of my sister. But outside of my sister, he was one of the first people who learned about that. And it was just because it was so easy to talk to him because of how he was. But he observed my behavior and he just sat there and listened. No judgments. He was shocked when I told him this thing, but he was one of the people who was very observant, be able to just be like, because you can learn a lot, even just by not doing nothing. By doing nothing, you can learn so much. Just sitting there and listening. I cannot tell you how many times people I've been able to know what type of person they are without even speaking to them, without ever speaking to them, just observing their behaviors. Not celebrities, of course, because that shit can all be performative, but I'm talking about people in real life. When you don't make yourself overly aggressive or judgmental, you'll be surprised what you can learn from people. And so anything that I tell y'all on here, anything that I talk about on here, know that it's from observing human behavior. That's why I love Criminal Minds, because Criminal Minds, they study the behavior of a criminal. Why do they do what they do? What is their motive? Why are they like that? Oh God, don't talk about the Oval Office, Lord. Yep. But you know what happened in Ohio? They got their asses handed to them. The police had to hold those black people back because they was like, who the fuck do you think you are? You must be lost. You must be lost. You must be lost. You must want to DIE. What are you doing? You came to the wrong community. And I don't know what gave them the gall. I don't know where they got that from. I don't know where you got the confidence from, but you lost your mind. And most of them was old heads too. I'm talking about men in their 40s, 50s, 60s. You mess with them men with their 50s and 60s? You messing with the black community with their 50s and 60s? Do you know them niggas is the original YNs? They're the originals. Hello, DIE over DEI. Hello? Like, do you know that they are the original YNs? Have you lost your mind? These are the men who grew up in the 90s. And you want to play games? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But they walked up in there like they was just the biggest, baddest motherfuckers they ever walked the planet Earth. They was about to get mopped. If the police weren't there, they was about to get mopped. Yeah, you can be, listen, freedom of speech All I'm gonna tell you is the results may vary. Results may vary. You need to know who you're playing with. Because a lot of people don't play like that. A lot of people don't play like that. They don't play games like that. You will mess around and find out. But like this is why I'm so adamant about like the separation thing, right? Like voluntary separation of just communities having their own thing, so when another community acts out, that community can protect themselves from them. Maybe cut themselves off from access from them. And maybe that community will learn. After enough times of being cut off, maybe they'll learn. Maybe if you don't get the chance to eat Asian food no more. Maybe if you don't get the chance to eat Hispanic food no more. Maybe if you don't get the chance to be around black people or listen to black people music no more. Maybe you'll learn to act right. Maybe you'll learn to be better. And of course you can't wean out everything. Of course you can't be perfect on everything. But at the very least, you can try to protect yourself against something. Bring back gatekeeping. Because I feel like people just have too much access. And it's the disrespectful motherfuckers who feel like it feels like they have the most access and they feel like they can just do whatever they want. That's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. But white people have been taught that everything belongs to them because they went around the world murdering people with their disease and then claiming that they won the wars. And so because of that, they think that they're most powerful. And well, the way that I see it, you are the most vicious. I don't know. I don't know no community of people who are more vicious than white people, who are more dare I say demonic. I looking at their history, man, it takes a special type of somebody. The way I see it, the heinous, oh my God, almost indescribably disgusting things that they've done to communities of people. I don't know. It takes a special type of somebody for that. 82% of American serial killers are white. 82%. 82? 82? The overwhelming majority, literally, smallest dogs bark the loudest, bark the most, and the loudest, and be the weakest ones. But 82% of American serial killers are white, the overwhelming majority. No other community of people in this country are even close. Are even close. What is that, 5-6 times? I mean, this is what I had just found because I thought about how they try to use the whole highlight of black on black crime, right? They use the highlight of black on black crime just to turn around and be the 82%. Let's see worldwide. Hold on. I just got Gojo on my damn page. Worldwide. Baby, call me Pitbull, this motherfucker, because worldwide, how many, let's just see, globally, have they studied it? They probably, you know what? They probably don't even have global stats like that because it's probably only in America that we have serial killers like that. Unless you're like a Hitler or something. Like it's the black on black crime thing. I've never understood it because if you look up the most heinous, the most disgusting, oh my God, probably mind-boggling, traumatizing crimes, it's done by a white man. Every time you look it up, those crimes by a white man. And you saying that black on black crime is worse? I would never want to live in a white neighborhood. I'm sorry. I would never want that. I would never want that. Ever. The things that y'all do to each other? Lord! Shoot me. I would much rather be shot than get my skin peeled off and put on a mannequin. I much rather be shot than have somebody eat me. I much rather be shot than somebody try to use me as some type of spirit experiment. Criminal Minds has traumatized me, and the amount of the episodes that are based off of real people, real serial killers who did real things, and what we've got, like, I think I could probably count the amount of different raced serial killers that's been on Criminal Minds. I think it's maybe been like what, maybe 10. I think it was like those 2 black dudes, that like maybe 3 Asian guys, like maybe 2 Hispanic guys. I could probably guess all of them. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know. Y'all know you're a moderator in here, but if you are typing something, I cannot see it. So I promise you I'm not ignoring anything. I just can't see it if you are typing. But I don't know. And like, stepping away from that for a second, I was talking on my last slide before I hopped off about like pick-me's and how like something that's been bothering me about like minority women, I've even seen with black women, they'll go underneath like white guys' comments, or even Asian guys or Hispanic guys, any guys that's not black, comments, right? And they'll be like, do you like black girls, or do you like Hispanic girls, or do you like Asian girls? And I'll be like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? What do we have going on? What are we doing? Why are we doing that? Can anybody explain? Why are we asking for validation? Either he like you or he don't. But it brought me to the idea that like white people are, well, they did that. It's on purpose. They purposely made it that way. But like white people have kind of forced people to put them at the center of their lives. So people's validations, people's worth, people's ability to achieve, it's kind of all centered around this whole idea of like, what will white people let us do? What do white people think is good enough? And I don't like that. I don't like that. Because you're more than capable. You're more than beautiful. You're more than successful. You're more than smart. Why are we validated? Why are we basing our validation off of that? And I feel like once a lot of people decenter that, the world would be a little bit better. Just the world will be a lot bit better when the patriarchy is dismantled. When men are no longer in charge, the world will be a much better place. It'll be a much better place. Once that's dismantled. But for now, I feel like for a lot of communities, that's why it's so, I don't want to say like hard for them to achieve, but that's why it's so strenuous, if you will, exhausting, overwhelming, because there's always that little loom, and one little thing that's just looming over your head, you know. And I just feel like if people would decenter that, they'd be a much happier person. Like me, the way that I see it, I don't censor nobody in my life but me and God. I don't censor nobody in my life but me and God. And the way that I see it, me and God are standing next to each other. We are next to each other, right? Hello, period. Women for the win, right? Like, I don't censor nobody else but myself in my life. Because if you don't, you're going to end up becoming one of these people where everybody else's opinion comes before your own. You're going to have like imposter syndrome all the time. Never have I ever been in a room and believed that I don't belong there. Bitch, if I'm in this motherfucker, obviously I belong here. I don't give a fuck what room it is. I could be the only black woman in there. I could be the black dot on the white piece of paper. If I didn't belong here, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't deserve it, I wouldn't have been offered it. Usually every space that I'm in, I'm more than qualified. And it's a thing that a lot of people, especially my black people, have to decenter because it's really hard with the fact that we've been attached to this community for so long, for one. And then for two, it's just all the things that happened. They really ruined us, man. They really, dismantled us. They did a good fucking job. I'm not gonna sit here and say that they did it. They did a good fucking job. But now we have to unlearn that because there are so many amazing people out there who just feel like, well, I'm never gonna get the same opportunities of such and such. I'm never gonna be XYZ. I'm never gonna be appreciated. I'm never gonna be, you know what I'm saying? And it's just holding us back. Oh, you was driving out of being okay, cool. It's just holding us back. And I hate that for us. I really do hate that for us. I want us to be better. I want us to thrive. And that's why another reason why I voted for the voluntary separation thing too, because I feel like being able to be detached from that, we really thrive in our own spaces when we feel the most safe, when we feel the most comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things about being black and being in like white spaces or just being surrounded by whiteness a lot is that we have this thing about code switching. We have to change up our personalities. We can't really talk about our interpersonal relationships. We can't really be who we are or what we like to be because we feel like we're going to be judged. We're going to be mocked. We're going to be thought of as like some under-level weird thing. And I hate that for us. Hence the reason why we have HBCUs. Hence the reason why we have black-led organizations, things like the BET Awards and NAACP Awards and things of that nature. Because when we're surrounded by our own, that's when we feel our most like ourselves. That's when we feel like we can achieve anything. When we're surrounded by our own communities. But then when we try to go up, it becomes like this weird tug of war. Where it's just like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they won't give me the opportunity. Maybe they won't do such thing because I have to act like them, or I can't be myself unless, unless I'm surrounded by my own people. I can't, and I hate that. I hate that for us, but because it's been like that for so long, it's hard for a lot of my community to outgrow that. And maybe it's just because I came out the world stumping, okay? Maybe because I got the years behind me to be able to be, I guess you could say, the eyeball out. My whole childhood, I've always been the black sheep. My whole childhood, I've always been targeted. My whole childhood, I've always had to fight for myself and advocate for myself and have my own back, And maybe that's what's led me to be this adult that I am today. But I really want my people to decenter that and just be themselves anywhere they go and know the opportunities will follow. But it's really hard with that because of the history, because of what we're still dealing with in the present day. We're finding black people hanging from trees. And then they're claiming that they're suicides. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you are somebody who's feeling that way and feel like you can't have more and do more, thanks, Silly Billy. I appreciate you. But if you're somebody who feels like that you have these limitations on yourself, you need to understand that you have to center yourself. And once you center yourself and fully understand what that means, you'll be unstoppable. Unfortunately, if you want certain opportunities and it's a predominantly white space and you look like me or you look like somebody close to me or you're melanated in any way, shape, or form, you might have to not conform, but you might have to, how would I say, continue the code switching, continue the tiny minimal switch up until you get into these places. People like to call it the corporate talk. Okay, people like to call it the corporate life. But you'll have to continue the thing, but it's like still be who you are though. Like I got into those corporate spaces and I still use the corporate jargon and make sure I did the ha 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 and you're so funny and you're your dog, stuff like that. I still did that. You know what I'm saying? But to a certain extent. Okay? What I'm not gonna let you do is gaslight me. What I'm not gonna let you do is disrespect me. Okay? What I'm not gonna do is let you get away with shit. Because at the end of the day, I feel like everybody should be respected no matter what your background is, no matter what space you're in, no matter if people look like you or they don't. So, and since we're touching on confidence too, we may as well step into the next fucking section. Going right ahead, right? So we're talking about confidence. You need to understand that if you have genuine confidence in yourself, there are going to be a lot of things that you're not going to allow. Let me explain what I mean. If you have confidence in yourself, the most tiniest thing will set you off. And let me tell you what I mean. When it comes down to men, I'll use the perfect example because I feel like I have a majority woman audience anyway. When it comes down to men, right? If a man does the slightest thing that pisses me off, I'm gone. And when I say slight, I mean if you say some weird shit like, "Oh, what you wearing?" Click. Click. If I say I'm about to get into the shower, why didn't you invite me? Click. If a man lies to you, I had a guy who wanted to do the deed so bad. I wasn't giving him the time of day because absolutely not. I sat back and I just let him speak. I just let him speak. I let him talk. And he revealed to me that he didn't respect women. He didn't respect the mother of his child. He cheated on the mother of his child. And he didn't think that cheating was that bad. I knew from the rooter to the tutor, I said, this nigga is full of shit. He is full of shit. And I know that he is. I knew that he was, and I'm going to stick to it. And I felt that way, and I was able to notice that. Yes, vermin, girl. I felt that way, and I was able to notice that because I am confident in myself. You're not going to talk to me no type of way. You're not going to act no type of way. I'm going to kid you not. The only men who has ever gotten to the chance to being able to get to that point with me, they've known me for 5 years. No exaggeration. No exaggeration. When I kid you not, no exaggeration. And I knew the characters of those men. Until this day. One of them I completely ignore. Man, he called me after I split ways from him. He called me a year later 3 times, went on my phone, never answered. And then the other one, he off doing whatever the hell he doing. But when you protect yourself, and you understand that your confidence is not only just your confidence, and it's also your self-worth. When you know that those 2 things are sanctimonious, confidence and self-worth, and self-love too. Those 3 things are sanctimonious. When you know that, you won't be putting up with nothing. And on top of that, you'll be perfectly okay with being alone. Now, no, I personally, you're not going to listen to me, but I personally don't think that dating, the risk is worth the potential reward. But if you are someone who wants to be married and everything like that, please go right ahead and go out into the dating space. I won't be doing that. I have voluntarily submitted myself to being an old maid and being the godmom and auntie of the world. Okay? If you want to do that, just make sure that you have your confidence and your self-love intact, because when a man plays with you, you're not going to have any issue walking away. You're not going to have no problem walking away. You're going to walk away. You're going to be road runner. You're going to be out of there. Before he even blink, you're going to be gone. And it's because you're going to be okay with being alone, and you're going to understand what you're worth. I know that it is, the dating pool out there is garbage. I personally haven't been in it in a while. But just watching y'all other stories, watching what's going on with y'all, I see it hasn't changed much. As a matter of fact, it's gotten worse, if anything, right? But the way to make that stuff easier is knowing when to quit, knowing when to be like, this is not for me. I need to walk away. Yes, the 4B movement is doing wonders right now. You need to be able to just highlight, I have to walk away. I can't be doing this. I'm not going to do it. And being perfectly okay with that. A lot of women I see like get desperate, or they just settle for anything, or they're just like, oh, he has all these other qualities, and they start bending on their non-negotiables. And that's you driving away and pulling back on your self-love, self-worth, and confidence. No, friend, you can't do it. And I was watching somebody that I like to watch on TikTok, and her name is Cupid, and she was talking about that the other day. And she said, if you had your dad in your life, if your dad is in your life, would you feel confident and comfortable telling your dad the things that this man is doing to you? If you have God in your life, if God was to look at this person and look at them and be like, okay, let's get into it. Let's observe. Would God be proud of the person that you're presenting? Would God be confident and praise you and be proud of you for the things that you're allowing this person to do to you? Would you? No? Not the right one, babe. Not the right one. Would you treat you like this and be perfectly okay with it? And that's why when you center yourself, nothing is going to slide. Nothing's going to slide. And that's with anything. That's not even just with romantic relationships. That's familiar relationships as well. That's with platonic relationships as well. Don't get me wrong. I know just as much as anybody that friendship breakups can hurt bad. They can almost hurt worse than a romantic breakup to me. Right? Because when you find your friend, that's your friend. That's your road dog. You know what I'm saying? That's the person who knows everything about you, knows all your little secrets, things of that nature, right? But when you have confidence and self-love and self-worth in yourself, that there's just not going to be anything that you're going to allow. And that comes from friends as well. That comes from family as well. That comes from work as well. Not letting people play in your face. When you don't have confidence, you cower. You cower and you just let things happen. And then next thing you know, you sitting around hating your life because you're allowing so much stuff to happen to you. We're going to cut that out. We're going to cut that out. All 2025 and the years going forward. Centering our fucking selves, finding the confidence in ourselves, and not allowing people to play in our fucking face. That's why I never be afraid to speak up in any meeting. I never feel afraid to talk to anybody in any group. I'm never afraid for any opportunity. I walk into an interview and I ace it. And I'm so confident in myself that if something doesn't work out or something doesn't happen with me, I know that it wasn't meant for me. I wasn't meant to have it. And if you believe in God, I literally just listened to this lady on TikTok. So freaking nice. She literally was like, if God thought that you were ready for it, wouldn't he already blessed you with it? If God thought you were prepared for it, wouldn't he have already blessed you with it? Wouldn't you already have it? Baby, that shit hit me like a bag of fucking rocks. If you're ready for it, if it's your time for it, why don't you have it? Some of us out here are not confident enough. Some of us out here haven't done the work. And that's why I've never been able to understand it personally. I'm one of the people where if I see a problem, especially in myself, if I see a problem and I don't like the trouble that this problem is causing me, I change it. Because I want to be better. I want to change it. I want to be the different person, the better person. And I don't know why we don't all do that. Why don't you want to have more? Why don't you want to be more? And it's because you don't have confidence in self-love, in self-worth. Because to me, ain't nothing out of my reach. To me, everything belongs to me. Everything that I want belongs to me. Everything I'm going to want, I'm going to have. I dream big, baby. The dreams that you think are big for me, that's just scratching the surface, baby. That's not even it. I'm not going to be done. I'm not going to be finished ever. Because my confidence is always going to be there. My self-love, my self-worth is always going to be there. And I believe I deserve everything. I believe I'm worth everything. I believe I love myself enough that I can have everything that I want and not be ashamed. And this is something I had to learn myself, because I grew up with a scarcity mindset. I grew up with the insecurity mindset because I grew up in insecurity. I didn't have any security in my life. It was hard to believe that I had things that I could achieve, things that were meant to be for me. But now as an adult, yeah, I'm in this room because I deserve to be here. Yeah, I have the success because I'm supposed to have it. Yeah, I got this experience because I was meant to experience that. Yeah, I'm in the same room as you because this is where I belong. And I just have confidence in myself to do what I want. And now, last year was a big eye-opener for me, but this year is just further proving that. I just have to keep going and keep doing and keep having. And that's why I tell anybody, like, even if you're going for a job, if you say, oh, I don't know if I'm qualified for that, baby, apply. Apply. You never freaking know. You never know. Apply and go into that space. Go in there and act like it's already yours. Act like it's already yours. I go into any interview, I go into any situation, and I literally ace it. Because I know that I'm exceptional. And if I don't get the opportunity, it means that it wasn't meant for me. And I know that sometimes it can feel like it is, because it's like all the things lined up. I feel like all the stars aligned and it didn't work out. Never freaking know. God might be protecting you from something that you don't even know that you need protection from. God might be keeping somebody from hurting you or doing something to you and you wouldn't even know. And that's why it's important to have God in your life, but powers that be. I ain't gonna go into that. I'm not a preacher. I'm not gonna give a sermon. But you just never freaking know. But when you have confidence in yourself, there's nothing that you can't have. And my mom used to always tell me I have an anointing on my life, but I don't think it's just an anointing, Miss Ma'am. I don't think it's just that. I think it's because I had a childhood of people doubting me. I had a childhood of people targeting me. I had a childhood of people treating me like the fucking black sheep, to the point where it molded me into the person who I was supposed to be. I was meant to be a go-getter. I was meant to be the girl who gets everything she wants. I was meant to be the girl who fights for everything. I was meant to be the girl who idolized her auntie's life of being the single rich gal traveling around the world. I was meant to have that. And it just took me recognizing that in myself. Because when I was growing up, I didn't think that I was good enough because people would target me. Because people would doubt me. But then I had to realize and flip it and be like, if you weren't that fucking girl, would they really be paying attention to you? Think about it. 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 If you wasn't that girl, would they really be trying to stop you? If you wasn't the beast that you are supposed to be, if you wasn't supposed to be the freaking champion that you're supposed to be, would they really be going out of their way, exhausting their resources when you are not doing anything to them? Would they really be doing that if they didn't see something in you? And this is when I was a kid. I'm talking about 2nd grade, middle school. I'm, 11, 12? And I have principals and teachers stopping me from taking tests, stopping me from receiving homework. If I wasn't meant for these things, better things, would they really be picking on you? You know what I'm saying? The ordinary envy the unordinary. They envy the extraordinary. And so all it took for me was to recognize that in myself and build on it. And once I recognized that, baby, I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. What is that that song from Cinderella? Hold on. What is it? Is it, yeah. Impossible. Yeah, impossible. Impossible. It's impossible for me not to be successful. You know that sound from Kanye? Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. It's impossible for me not to achieve. Because even when I was a young buck, when I was just a little fawn, walking around, stumbling on the ice like Bambi, people were trying to get the freaking blow dryers, get the heaters to melt the ice so I'll sink. So I'll drown. Imagine the type of boss you're going to be as an adult. That is how you need to walk around. That is how you need to be. People envy those they feel like they cannot be. If they feel like they can't be you, if they feel like they can't have what you have and be what you be, they do everything in their power to dismantle you. They do everything in their power to bring you down. You can't let them win. You can't let them win. Did that with the most recent job. Motherfucker was doing everything in his power to bring me down, trying to isolate me and all this extra shit. Motherfucker, I'm a boss. You will never be in the rooms that I'm in. You'll never have the opportunities that I have. You'll never be me. You'll never be me. Sad, really. Sad, really. But after that, couldn't nobody tell me nothing. And that's how you need to be with your life. Because the moment that you realize that everything can be yours, there's no limitations to you, nothing will seem impossible. Nothing will seem impossible. So I walk into places and I'm just like, oh, well, another opportunity, another check, another salary raise, another thing. And as we talked about earlier, a closed mouth don't get fed. Closed mouth don't get fed. I remember at one of my old jobs, they were doing, raises soon. I waltzed my ass into my manager's office. I came with all my receipts of all the things that I've done and all the things that I was successful at. Brought it in, presented it to him, and said, hey, I know y'all doing raises right now. This is what I deserve. This is what I deserve. And this is what I expect. And this is what I want. I had got a whole dollar raise more than my coworkers. Because I wasn't going to just lay down and let them give me a 20-cent raise. I think they got like a 73% raise, something like that. I almost got a $2 raise on top of those people. And I was like, and y'all just let them... But I had the confidence in myself to do so because I can advocate for my pay. I know that I'm an exceptional worker. I know I go above and beyond. I know that I go above way more than what you expected me to. I learn quick. I'm efficient. I have a leadership personality. I deserve this. And you won't tell me that I'm worth less. They gave me a okay raise, it was decent. But it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So what did I do? I packed my shit and left. And went for a job that was paying me almost double. Man. Confidence can just really, I'm telling you. And don't get me wrong. There have been times where I've been nervous. When you're talking to your superiors and everything, you don't want to slip up. You don't want to mess up. You want to just go into that motherfucker. You want to own it. But anytime that I ever get nervous or anything like that, I sit and I think about, what do I want? What do I want? Do I want to not say anything and then go home and be mad at myself because I didn't advocate enough for what the hell I wanted? Or do I want to get the nervousness out the way and say, fuck it, and go do what I need to do? Do what needs to be done. And get a bigger raise than my coworkers. Get a better opportunity than my coworkers. Before I left that job, I was encouraged by my upper management to go for a higher paying position, a different paying position, to interview for it. Who's to say that they would have encouraged me to do that if I didn't speak up for myself? If I didn't have confidence in myself? And that's what the importance of centering yourself is. The way I see it, nobody's going to ruin my day on earth. Nobody's going to ruin my life on earth because you only get one, bitch. You only get one, one. And I don't want to be 65, looking back on my life, or 85, looking back on my life, thinking like, oh, I should have did this, I should have did that. No shoulda, coulda, woulda, baby. I'm taking the risk. I'm taking the risk. I'm taking it, and I'm taking it fast. Get out of my way, okay? Get out of my way. I'm taking this risk and I'm taking it fast. And whatever mistakes come along with it, well, whatever bad things happen along with it, well, at least I can say I tried. At least I can say that I did it. Because I want to be successful. I want to be better. I want to have better. I deserve better. And so do you. So, if you're struggling with confidence, you just got to think about that. How would you want to see yourself? How would you want to view yourself when you're at the end of your life? Let's just say that we're all lucky enough to live to 100. When you're at the end of your life, how do you want to feel at the end? Do you want to look back at your life and see a whole bunch of regret? Or do you want to look back and be like, damn, I took that risk. I said that thing. I did this stuff and it didn't work out. I said that thing and it didn't work out. That didn't come out the way that I exactly wanted it to, but at the end of the day, I did it. And some stuff worked out, and some stuff didn't. Some things went exactly how I wanted it to be planned, and some stuff didn't. I thought I was gonna have this relationship with this person and this job with this company, but that didn't work out like that. But I had this relationship with this other person and had this better job with this better company. I was able to start my own business. Hell, I was able to be successful. I was able to have all these things. Could you imagine having a life full of regret rather than risk and reward? Please, please, go ahead and book that meeting. Go ahead and apply that application. Go ahead, I'm going to pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and start dialing. I'm not playing any games here. I get one life on earth. I'm going to live it to the fullest extent. As full as I can. Because I don't believe in reincarnation. And even if I did, you don't get to live your life over. You're going to get a whole different life. And if I have to freaking reincarnate as a fly, if I have to reincarnate as a fly, at least as a human, I lived. So that's how you need to be able to walk around your life and dedicate yourself to you. Because if you don't, you're just going to be walking around an empty fucking husk full of regret. So let go of the fear. Center yourself in your life. And you will thank yourself for it in the end. But yeah. Well, y'all, I had... What time did I come on? Around like 8? Something like that. This was a little bit of a shorter live, but because it's getting late, I'm going to hop on TikTok for a quick second peep. So if you want to see me over there, just go ahead and pop your little body yada yada. But I love you guys very, 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 very much. I hope that y'all enjoyed this live. And I will see y'all in the next one. I will try to come on this weekend. But if not, then probably next weekend or like mid-week. Next week sometime. Love you guys. Bye. Deuce.